Yo. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Check 1 2 1 2. What up, everybody? It's your boy Royce the Voice, Orange Click, Orange Leader. Shout out to K-Team. Speak your thoughts or lose your mind. And how is everybody doing today? Man, it is almost springtime. It is March the 15th. We started a little bit late, you know what I'm saying? But we up in here, man. It is 8:15 p.m. We are on Twitter. We are on YouTube. And we are on Facebook on Royce's Rant. I didn't go live on my personal page for this particular reason, and I'm going to tell y'all why. Because we need everybody's traffic to come to the Royce's Rant page, man. That's where all the people are at. That's where we're going to see all of you guys' comments. So if you guys are watching at this moment right now, start a watch party, or you can share this, you know what I'm saying, on your page. You know how we do, man. We got to share, you know what I'm saying? Support your boy, support the whole network. You know what I'm saying? Support all the guests that are up on the show. And we do have a good show today. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I always say we won't be too long, but y'all know that's a lie. You feel me? Because man, we got some great guests up in there, man. We'll bring them here in just a minute, man. But I do just want to say, shout out to BJ Anderson, to Jamie Moorhead. Let's see, who else am I looking at on here? It's just so hard to see, with this phone and everything. Okay, so look. So everybody that's on the Royce's Rant page, I just need y'all to share this for me, okay? It's really important. We're trying to drive all the traffic to the main page. And I know this is a little different, but once y'all get used to it, we'll be back up and running like we normally do. You know what I'm saying? Because I want a lot of people involved. And please, just as usual, when you do, if you want to support this whole network, because I'm telling y'all, man, we've got so much in store now. We actually have an added addition. That don't even make sense. We have a new addition, and we ain't talking about the group. You know what I mean? A new addition to the network. It will be Bishop Jimmy L. Tyson, and he will be having his Royce's Rant Network debut, you know what I'm saying, this Wednesday. You hear what I'm saying? And I think this is going to be more at 7 o'clock, if I'm correct. No, 6:30. 6:30, if I'm correct. You want to make sure that, you get a little something in before you go to Bible study and all that. But let me tell you something about, Bishop Jimmy Tyson. This is different. It's not your regular, you know what I'm saying, your regular preacher talk. You know what I'm saying? This is something you can just come sit in the living room, kick your feet up and all that jazz. And so it's going to be at 6 o'clock. So it's going to be at 6 o'clock then on Wednesday. I'll make sure that I reiterate that as we proceed with the show and also in the closing. But so now we got Mondays on Royce's Rant. We got Tuesdays on Fanino Black and Black Thoughts. We got Wednesdays with Bishop Jimmy L. Tyson. And then we got Herschel. Y'all know Herschel Williams, Dr. Anatomy, The Prescription. And so we almost got the week filled up. So I'm very, very excited for the growth that we have. And we got many, many more things to give you guys. Also, as I have to let you guys know, you know what I'm saying, outside of this podcast, I got to get a shout out to my producer, Josh Lovett, winning these awards and being nominated for the short films he produced. That I so happen to be an actor in one of the films, you know what I'm saying? And we got some accolades for that. And for the music video / short film we called I'm Straight, we got nominated for some stuff like that too. So we're moving up, man. And we got another series coming out called The Hit List. All right. It's a 4-part series. And there's also something that we do one Friday out of the end of every month. And that's called The Hit List. That's where we actually bring Middle Tennessee's finest artists to the stage, going live in the studio. You know what I mean? So y'all stay tuned for that this Friday. We got Lotus Music coming up, you know what I mean, on that Friday. But anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand, okay? Which I haven't said the topic at hand, all right? So if you guys are all sharing, I will proceed with it. The title of this show is called Debunking Toxic Masculinity. Debunking Toxic Masculinity. Now, I know people are probably scratching their heads like, what does that even mean? Like, what does that even mean? Is there even such a word? Because now, don't get it twisted. I know this is the month of March. I know this is, I think this is, International Women's Month, or Women's Month, just period, for March. And there's been a lot of topics, of discussion. 2 weeks ago, I was asking, is it really that hard being a woman? And I hope I didn't ruffle any feathers with any of that. But we had a nice little dialogue about it as far as some of the stereotypes that men may have with women, or women may have with men, or women may have with women, you know. But I hope that we did come to some type of resolution or understanding about how women feel in what they call a man's world. But so this week, actually, I want to get into toxic masculinity. Is there such a thing? Is there? Okay, because on the internet, as far as what I've seen, what's up? That's some good information given out. I hope so, BJ Anderson. I hope so. Shout out to BJ Anderson, man. So social media, what I call like a social media definition. You know, I've seen people from women to men, you know, saying that the real meaning for toxic masculinity means having very few or little feminine traits. You know, along the way, there have been discussions about, you know, there being a problem with a man being a man. Now, everybody may agree and everybody may not agree, but there's conversations floating around on, well, devaluing masculinity. Is there such thing as toxic masculinity? Is there such thing as being too much of a man? Which that doesn't make sense to me because a man is a man. But social media definitions, you know, some people say it's basically toxic masculinity. You know, toxic masculinity is basically, you know, kissing a woman's ass and not over pursuing a woman or put, you know, women on a pedestal. But anyway, I'm not going to explain too much about it, okay? Because y'all know I love to talk. And I want to give these guests, whom I really, really, really respect, I hold their opinions greatly, their facts and their statements. I highly respect these two. One of them that you're very, very familiar with, and I'm going to bring on first, and it is Lise Winnie in the building with Millennials Anonymous. She's coming all the way from Baltimore, and we got my boy B. Virgil calling in straight from Memphis, Tennessee in this building. What it do? What it do? What it do? Y'all can unhook your mics.
I'm good. How are you?
Hey,
Man, hanging up in here, man. Y'all looking all lavish. I see my boy with the sweater and the man. You looking like a Kappa in here right now, man. I don't want to. I ain't gonna hurt your feelings or nothing, man. He said no. And we got Lise Winnie up in here, man. She is a podcaster extraordinaire, entrepreneur, all the way from the East Coast, man. Very outspoken young lady. She's got her thing going on the East Coast of Baltimore. And how are you doing up there?
Oh, I'm doing well. I cannot complain. We're doing good over here, over East.
You already know what it is, man. And you got a certain glow to you today, man. What's going on? You got a nice little shine on you, Lise.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just happiness. I don't know.
Is that what it is? I'm just saying. You got a nice. It's a compliment, by the way. Thank you. You're welcome.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Sometimes, you know, you be trying it. You be trying me. Yeah, I know.
Is that scorpion in me? I think that's what it is.
It is. You like got that big brother syndrome. I know. Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I'm actually the little brother, though. You know what I mean? See, but maybe it's me.
To you. You.
Oh, okay. My bad.
You always been the baby, so then now you want to pick on me because you couldn't pick on nobody.
Oh, that's how we doing it now. That's how we going. Oh, shots fired. Anyway, man. I know that's toxic. Don't do that. That's toxic. But no, man. Let's kind of just get straight to it, man. And really, and of course, we'll start at the top and work our way down to be Virgil, man. But so let me just ask y'all individually this, and I'll start with Lise. When you hear that word, toxic masculinity, and everything that you've heard that is attached to it, what are your thoughts on that? You know, if someone were to ask you to define that in your own terms.
Yeah, so toxic masculinity to me, it really means taking the archaic way of being and using that to dominate and be possessive over others, which is really what they use in the journal, the School of Psychology. That's what I view as toxic masculinity. Got
you. Now, like, well, when you say archaic, that's more like
Old.
way
Traditional.
before, like
Yeah.
way, yeah, back, yeah, all the way back there, all the way back in those. So I guess we're like, women were, well, basically, you know, in men's eyes, they weren't equal to them in the case, in a sense. They didn't have a say so. They couldn't really do too much, but just submit to their husbands. Didn't have any type of power or say so on anything in a way. Okay, I dig that. I dig that. Now, as far as in today's terms, has that word changed? The meaning of that word changed now these days? Like, do you feel that the word toxic masculinity even exists? Is there such thing?
So for me, it has changed, but everything changes. Once the stuff gets into mainstream society, most people don't know what it means. So then they interpret it the way they think that it means. And so then people start overusing it and they put the label on everything that they don't like that men do. And then it makes men kind of dislike the term, where it's like, oh, now you're saying because I'm a man, I'm somehow born toxic. And that's not what this should have ever been, but it kind of evolved in that because you you got them IG professors and them Facebook, teachers. That's what happens in the world.
Nah, I feel you on that, man. And so be Virgil, man. I know that we had spoke a little earlier, or whatever, and I guess I kind of want you to reiterate what you were saying about when I did bring that word up. I recall you saying, like, what does that even mean? Like, what is there such thing? What is your view on what people call toxic masculinity today? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't really totally disagree, and that is what she said about it being archaic. What I disagree with in how it's been applied.
Okay.
In a world where you have Michelle Obama, who can celebrate Dwayne Wade and his raising of his son, and in that same breath, they criticize LeVar Ball for his handling of his sons and call his behavior toxic, I think that that's counterproductive. I think it's disingenuous, and it is a attack on basic masculinity. I'm supposed to be a father. I'm supposed to be hard on my children, and I think it's being viewed or taken wrongly. So
I dig that. So there was a point that you brought up with Dwayne Wade, I believe, and this was something that I guess it kind of confused me a little bit. And like I said, man, it's you really can't judge people on how they do their parenting, but at the same time, I don't know if I speak for everybody else, but I know for me it hit me a certain way. People ask, well, why do you care? I don't know. I was like, I care a lot. That's just me. I care about how people raise their kids, even though they're not mine. That's just how I am. But it hits different to me when, as you would say, I was talking to Lise the other day, and she said, "Hey, I was born a female," and with Dwayne Wade's son, he was born a male, and it was just kind of frustrating to me on how the energy towards his son identifying himself as a female, that anybody that spoke up against that, was being homophobic or not, catering to the feelings of how the child feels. Now, I mean, I see you shaking your head, so I mean, what's going on?
Even if you can't sexualize a child, if you think it's wrong to sexualize a child, and any decent human being should, why would you reassign a gender? I don't know if genderizing is the thing, but if you can be critical of somebody for sexualizing a child, then what are your parents doing? They're assigning you a sex, a gender, before you even hit puberty, and no less. And you haven't. I think that in a lot of ways, it speaks to more or less Dwayne Wade's absence. Who is he surrounded with? A good portion of young Black men are being raised by women. And if I'm going to define toxic masculinity as anything, it's the lack of masculinity within these young boys. They're extremely feminine. They're extremely emotional, and they don't process their feelings properly. They go out into the world in which they face confrontation, and their first go-to is violence. They don't know how to process their emotions and engage themselves in dialogue to diffuse a situation. And if anything that's counterproductive or toxic to families and the well-being of humans in general, I would say that, because we're not fulfilling our role as men anymore. And in fact, we've been encouraged to do the other. And I think that's toxic to families and like I say, human nature in general. So,
So go right ahead, Lise.
So, I mean, there's a lot that just happened in that little nugget piece right there. So, as far as with Dwayne Wade's son and him kind of like, because you were saying, well, like if you say something, I'll preference it this way. So you said if you say something about it and you don't like it, this is to Royce, right? And you said if you say, oh, I don't agree with the way that they're raising their son, and you're automatically considered homophobic. Now,
I've been called homophobic, yeah.
Now, let's play devil's advocate. Let's flip this. Okay. So that is literally the same argument that white people use when they say, if I don't like somebody black, Sharon Osbourne she literally just said this. Verbatim on The Real, The Talk, or whatever the fuck the show is. She literally just said that. What's the difference?
What's the difference in her saying you talking about? Okay, hold on.
Between what you're saying and what she's saying, what's the difference?
Oh, I'm trying to compare the two. Okay, so let me just do this. Let me do this. So I'm going to repeat what I said, so therefore I can understand the comparison with
you got notes. You said you're gonna repeat it. You got notes.
No, I'm clicking my little. Hey, look, my computer be acting funny, man. It be debunking stuff it's on. I'm like, man, get this stuff off my screen. I really got to clean my computer, y'all. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all.
Stay off.
Anyway, hey, look, man, y'all know nothing about that.
Wow.
I know not what you speak of. I'm on a break from porn, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Nino Black, Peter Anderson, man. So what I was saying was there was an incident to where, when I was saying something about that, I had a problem with it. They were saying, well, you're homophobic. I said, well, first I had to break down the word homophobic. All right. Like phobia is something pretty much that you're scared of, having a fear of something. Right? I'm not afraid of no homosexual person. As a matter of fact, I'm not even uncomfortable. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I didn't used to be. I used to be very uncomfortable around homosexuals, especially in college. But theater brought that out of me, because in down at UAPB, you know what I'm saying, a lot of the people in theater were gay, bisexual, and I had to learn to say, hey, okay, these guys, they're actors, they're actresses. I always thought, oh man, everybody trying to hit on me and, and sexualize me and stuff like that, when it was completely not that. Now, don't get it twisted. Don't think that, what I'm saying, some of them tried. You feel what I'm saying? But when you set your boundaries and they show that respect, I'm like, okay, cool. You do what you do. I do what I do. We cool. And that's just what it is. And from that moment, I've never had a problem. And of course, I've had my own issues too of being molested by the same sex for 4 or 5 years. I spoke on that, a couple of shows ago. But so no, I'm not afraid of anybody that's homosexual. I'm not even uncomfortable when I'm around you at all. I'm so good. But it just, and maybe I'm comparing it on the way that I was raised.
Okay.
As an 80s baby, you know what I'm saying? I know where I was at 11 or 12 years old, but that was due to me being touched. You feel what I'm saying? And I can't sit there and say, well, because I didn't say, I want to identify myself as a woman, that boy can't either. But then it makes you question, well, what's going on inside of the home, to make you feel like.
So basically you're putting blame on Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade for the fact that their child is gay. Now, we gotta go back further, because gay didn't just pop up overnight. Like this has been going on forever and ever. And there's a lot of people that have straight parents that end up with gay children. So you saying one of the parents was secretly gay?
Well, no, I don't want to say that. What I'm saying is that, and even though if he identifies himself as a girl, that don't even mean that he's gay either. If you want to get deep into that whole thing, you know, he can identify himself as a girl
Well,
and
if he identifies as a girl, then
still likes guys. He would be heterosexual, right?
he would be considered a part of the LGBTQ community. The people who I'm in liberal country. I'm East Coast all day. So basically, what that would mean is the people that date him would not be considered gay. They would be considered heterosexual. So if you started dating a trans woman and you are a man, you technically would still be considered a heterosexual male.
Now you see how confusing that is. But go ahead, B Virgin.
I'm just like, look, I can accept your identity, but I don't have to participate. I'm not going, as Dave Chappelle say, play this pronoun game with y'all. If you were born a dude, you're gonna die a dude. Simple as that. I don't know why we came to a place where I don't have to disrespect you. You're still entitled to being treated as a human being, but I don't have to participate. I don't have to involve myself.
But can't you just ask them their name? So if you say, well, my name is Jane, can you just call them Jane instead of she?
Fine.
See, I solved it.
I don't. But
I don't think it's solved though. But go ahead.
It's not. It's not that simple because some of those Tony is you can go either way with that. But my whole thing is even in the name, I still, if I know what you are, then that's what you are. And I mean, you were born a man. You're a man. It's just as simple as that. I don't really do the whole gray area. And the whole thing about it is, I wouldn't even know a lot of this I can't change my black. So when you talk about racism versus this phobia, I was clearly born black outwardly. You could see this. I don't have to walk around and announce that I'm black. But with their position, you want everybody to know and you want to ram it down. I don't have to accept those things. I don't have to. I can accept it. I can respect it, but I don't have to participate. And I know now they're giving out participation medals for everything. First, and that's a whole nother animal.
So are you saying that they're saying, come on in our bedroom with us? Like, what are you saying when you say you don't want
I don't mean like you still are entitled to be treated as a human being. That's just as across the board, regardless of what you identify with. But me knowing that, like, let's say I have a cousin who was born, I knew him, I grew up with him. Okay. He was size 13 and a 13-year-old.
Okay.
And he suddenly decides that he wants to be Tiffany. Bro, I'm not calling you Tiffany. You are still the little boy I grew up with. And I'm not gonna play this game with you, semantics. And that's what you want to do. You're an adult, and that's the other thing about Dwayne Wade. He had, give him a chance. They said let kids be kids. Give him an opportunity to be a kid. This man ain't even hit puberty yet. Them hormones ain't kicked in where he may or may not be attracted to women. But for you to go ahead and assign it, not only assign it, that's one thing. I mean, not only you encourage and celebrate it rather than, hey, my man, listen, I know I spent a lot of seasons, and I'm not just, I shouldn't use that one because then that would just make it about Dwayne Wade. Yeah. And it's not about Dwayne Wade, but it's about a community not correcting. And that's just across the board, whether you're talking about this particular, I mean, we don't correct our children anymore, period.
Like so you'll see kids down there. You're not born gay, is what you're saying. You believe that it's
I'm saying that there is a study.
I saw it
with the even with the pesticides. I forget his name, out of UC Berkeley in California, where they suppressed his work because he was showing that they were spraying herbicides on your food that was causing even straight frogs to turn gay, and even some of them reproduce eggs. They were able to full male frogs were reproducing eggs after a period of time. But and given that we are a fast food generation, it used to be a prideful thing to come home and eat dinner. Now everybody's eating fast food. You don't know what they put in their food. We have no idea what we've been exposed to, even subjected to. Even just 2 weeks ago during the snowstorm, they had to shut down the whole water system here in Memphis. Am I feel good enough to go and drink out the water even after they say it's safe? I don't believe you flushed all of Memphis water in a matter of days.
Yeah, I mean, I would believe it if gay just appeared. Like, if it wasn't around since the beginning of time, then you could kind of make that argument.
Yeah, but it was a anomaly.
It wasn't
widespread.
No, it wasn't accepted. So, like, you did you watch Martin's special? Because I think you brought up Dave Chappelle. Remember Martin's special when he was like, you knew the person that was gay. They may not have said it, but they, you was playing ball, they was jumping rope. Like, it's been around since the beginning of time. They just were in the closet. So, like, Bayard, Bayard Rustin, who helped Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was openly gay. He just was. It wasn't the same. We weren't eating the same types of food back then, and he was able to help. Really, the March on Washington, that was his baby. The civil rights movement really was on the back of Bayard Rustin, an openly gay man. Not to mention James Baldwin. We have these same people that they've been around since the beginning. I don't agree that somehow that's toxic masculinity. So let's get back to the term toxic masculinity.
So toxic masculinity.
People tend to want to I agree with you, Royce. I think people do overuse the term toxic masculinity and they apply it to things that they don't like about men. I agree with that 100%. But what we can't do is sit here and say that there haven't been some norms that have gone down the line from years and years and years that a lot of people still want to use. And the reason why they use them is because it gives them a level of superiority. We had this conversation. We talked about, it was when, I don't even remember when I was on here last. When was that?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Okay. And we were talking about, I think, like marriage, right? And so we were saying that, or he was talking about a lot of women weren't married. And so there was this
80%
toxicity among, I guess, African-American women or women in general. And he had mentioned that a lot of people back then, they stayed married. And like, yeah, they stayed married. And you see the difference between now and then. But the difference is they didn't have a choice. So we can't sit here and pretend like just our grandmother couldn't own properties without husband. They're still alive.
So when you say that it, hold on. First, shout out to Jared Dan. I gotta make sure I shout out to the people. Nino Black, Jared Daniel. That's a new face I've seen. Jared Daniel, shout out to you.
And he said it's not a choice. I would have never chose this. Shout out to Jared, by the way.
Shout out to Born Rich Club Films. Nino Black a bit. Nino Black, you can come in here, man. We can come here on that second half or whatever, man. Let these folks, do the thing up in here. I know Lise misses you up in here. Nino, hold on.
We've had a colorful interaction.
Man, love them to death, man. But when you say that we didn't have a choice, what you mean, to stick together? As far as
no. I mean, women didn't have a choice. Like, literally, we had to get married. You couldn't own anything. You couldn't work. Women couldn't vote. Like, we couldn't do anything. We are not written in the Constitution at all. When they amended,
and black men are.
When they amended and they added in, they still didn't include equal. There still are no equal rights for women written anywhere in there at all. So I think you have to understand that if you're saying that there's a toxicity in, you don't want to. If you're saying that toxicity is simply because people want men to be feminine now and they don't want men to be men anymore and they don't want men to be manly anymore, I think we need to have a broader conversation about why, because I think you're getting away from what toxic masculinity actually is. That's just somebody's opinion. Like, oh, I don't like him doing that. That's your opinion. Might not be nice. You may not like it, but doesn't necessarily fall under toxic masculinity. A man cheating on you doesn't necessarily fall under toxic masculinity.
Interesting. Okay, so let me ask you a
Cause and
question.
effect.
Yeah, call it. So let me ask you a question, Lise. The men of then, when we're speaking of post and I ain't gonna say post, but during civil rights, during Jim Crow era, you know, when we're speaking of the black families were more close knit. 75 to 80% of the people were married. Do you feel that back then men were men compared to how men are portrayed now, or the men of today? Is there any difference? Do you see a difference in the men of today compared to the men of the past?
I think that the men of today, just in my opinion, I think a lot more men want to listen. They want to learn. I feel like back in the day, men didn't have to, so they didn't care to listen. I don't care to learn what's going on with you. I don't have to. I think there is a difference there. I know a lot of people shit on men of today, but I think we're actually moving in a better direction than we were in the past. So I give more props to what we see now, because you see more men that really do want to hear about toxic masculinity, because I don't even know if people know it. That started in a male movement. This term did not start in science. It did not get started by women. It got started by men in a male movement in the 1980s. That is where this started. And then it morphed into something else. And then, of course, psychology got involved. And then they started to use the term.
Black men wasn't a part of that movement. I can.
Oh no, they weren't. They were not. They weren't a part of the movement.
I can assure you of that.
Well, Virgil, I asked you the same question. What difference do you see in the men of today based on the men from our fathers and forefathers?
A lack of camaraderie. When we get together now, I enjoyed going to the barbershop as a kid. It was a variety of conversations, topics that occurred that allow you to learn, take in information, so that when you move forward as an adult, then you were more informed. I go to the barbershop now, and what's the topic of conversation? Gossip. The beauty shop has rolled over into the barbershop. We talk about women way more than we should. Like, crypto is running off right now. Why we ain't talking about investments? We're trying to close the wealth gap. That's something that's very important. We don't have those discussions. So I think that as a result of that, a lot of the growth that could be happening isn't happening. And if I'm comparing the older men to the new men, of course, I don't know if they were better providers because of choice, or as she said, that the women were there. She here, you got to provide for her. And at the same time, today, I don't think a lot of men know how to, like, the freedom, like I said, the older men didn't have to deal with the mouth of women. And because they didn't have to, we never learned how to. And so it sounds like somebody with fingernails on the chalkboard to our ears. I'm like, I don't want to hear this. I'm out.
Yeah.
And in some ways that may explain the gains in divorce rate as well. But I would say that was true. That's true across the board. That when people have the freedom to choose, they'll choose what they want. And that's why I think my conflict with the whole scenario lies. It's like, you have more choice now. Why is only 25% choosing to be married? And of that 25% who are married, particularly in the Black community, 80% are the initiators of divorce. This is where I got on the podcast late 2 weeks ago, because I really want to touch on that. Single motherhood is so hard that they're filing at 80% rate to be single mothers. I know that's an overgeneralization, but if it's so difficult, if it's the hardest job in the world, why are so many signing up for it? But like I say, that's
It's
from
the
the
same reason
previous.
why Black people dig themselves in a financial ditch constantly, even when they don't have the option, because they don't know any better. And sometimes they're just in a fucked up situation and they don't have a choice. Either you got to jump off the cliff or you got to stay in some shit. And that is just, these are just facts. So I think you mentioned something about, men gossip now in the barbershops. And I think that more so than that being a lack of masculinity and, more femininity, I think it's just a change in culture. The culture changed. I don't think that has anything to do with masculinity, though.
But what led to that culture change? The absentee of men in the community, correct? So we emulate the people that we're most often around. And what happened is, with men being raised now in single parent households that are generally led by women, a lot of men have taken on feminine traits. When I grew up, if my grandmother had company, we couldn't even stay in the house. Everything with a swinging dick. Garage. Let's go. Oh, my apologies. But
no, I was agreeing with you, like outside.
Outside. Let's go.
Yeah,
and that's where I learned from. I don't sit up. I don't take great joy in sitting up under a group of women. It'll drive me crazy. But these young boys, they take it in, they soak it up, and they emulate that which they see, and that becomes a social norm. But for us men who were raised differently, it's offensive to us. We're like, dude, where your daddy at, bro? Like,
I don't know if that's true. I think the culture changed in the term of when people saw, like, especially back when the civil, right around the 60s and stuff, we were really doing stuff, right? And when that became threatening to people, it was like, oh no, we can't have you become more successful than we are. It was always like that, after the
1920s
war and all of that. Anytime they felt like, okay, you about to do something, things got torn down. I think that there was some systematic issues that were placed in Black people's laps in order to make them, because Black people have always been pitted against each other, whether it was because light skin, dark skin, whether it was because, oh, you sound white, you two not Black enough, you too Black. We've always been pitted against each other, and that has nothing to do with masculinity. That has everything to do with the fact that if we actually work together, we could get shit done. That's just not where we are. Forces don't want that to happen. So I don't think that can be attributed to that, because if you have a boy, I know there's some people that have raising sons and they don't want to sit with women. I don't think that that's necessarily true. And then also, why don't you like sitting and having a conversation? Maybe those women are just some shitty ass women that's boring as fuck and they talking about some trash shit that you don't want to talk to. They are some dope women. I think we need to stop saying, well, that's for men. And that is a part of that toxicity where it's like, you can't talk about this if you are a woman. You know how many times I love sports. Do you know how many times people I have to prove, like, I don't think you really know. Like, really? This what we doing? No. You got to try to dominate me. I have a mouth. So when I walk in a room, one of the first things that people do, or especially men, they want to make sure that, I'm going to put you in your place so you know where you stand. That should not be. It happens too much, and most of them are Black.
And let me read this real quick. I'm going to read a couple of them real quick, just catching up. So Nina Black said the Black codes, no man in the house rule, the war on poverty, crack era, drug law. My man BJ Anderson, I actually want to tap into this. He said the Spartans, Alexander the Great, the Persian Empire, the Egypt kingdoms, the Vikings, vice versa. Super masculine, correct, conquered most of the world. You know what else was widespread among them? Same-sex relationships in the counter. Now that is true, but but I will say this, BJ. I'm not saying because a man is gay that he loses his masculinity. Like, you're still a man at the end of the day. Still like a man. You're still a man, you know what I'm saying? It was just that after they got through, you know what I'm saying, fighting,
hey, man.
They went and did their thing after the war.
Hadrian was one of the greatest.
So that has nothing to do with being gay. Yeah, like, so I hope you weren't trying to get that, I hope I wasn't sending that type of connotation as if they were weak.
No,
You
because
know,
Hadrian, who was one of the best, I think he was Roman, or was he might have been Greek or Roman. He was, and they say allegedly he was black. I don't know if that's true or not, but he conquered a bunch of shit, and they said he was also very, very gay. So that doesn't have anything to do with not being masculine or not being able to have those masculine traits. And I think that when we start doing this, because one of the things that'll probably be triggering to both of you, there's a store, I don't know if it's Target or Walmart, but it's one of those stores, and they said that they're going to get rid of genders. So for children, there will no longer be like the boys section and the girls section. There will just be children's clothing. And a lot of people were like having a fit about that because they were like, well, I don't want to buy my son girl clothes. And I'm like, well, if you go in the store and you pick it up and it's a dress, you know you don't have to buy it, right?
True.
But this was kind of predicted when the ISIS papers with Dr. Francis Cress Wilson a long time ago. It's been a war on masculinity, and the term toxic being added to that war is just a further affirmation of what she stated in as far back as 1971. She even spoke about there will come a time when men will step out of their pants and want to put on dresses because they emulate what they're around. My daddy, I'll tell you where even as I grew up, I didn't experience this directly myself, but I can tell you a number of black men who hear this. Your daddy ain't shit. I don't want to be my daddy. I want to be my mama because she does shit. It's identity politics. I see myself and my father, and you've already told me my father ain't shit. So I don't want to be him. And then at some point, I don't even want to be a man. I want to be just like you, mommy.
I feel like you still blaming this again falls under the umbrella of what you're.
But it's not like a blame game. Women. No, because it was a systemic. It was you playing chess with a group of people who you've already clearly stated has wanted to destroy you. And I didn't say this earlier when you talking about it's been around for forever.
It's in the Bible.
And then, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, it's in the Bible. I'm not a religious person, but it's in the Bible.
Yeah. So is people renting out bellies of whales, but we know that ain't happening.
Yeah, I'm not you're not going to offend me. I'm just saying with me.
I'm not looking to be offensive at all, but I mean, I think that we're dealing with a big monster that we don't understand the way it moves. And if you don't understand how, I didn't want to make this because I tell them when I talk about black issues and when I talk about issues in general, it's always from a black perspective, clearly, because I'm a black man. So when I speak about things, particularly the systemic way in which we have arrived at our station and we find ourselves now, I generally starts, particularly with this country, the psychological effects of your experience. Butt breaking was a thing, was it not? So to us, it may seem that had been around for a long period of time. I don't know. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about black people beyond slavery, because that's the school, that's the education. I mean, that I didn't learn on my own. It's not general knowledge. You had to go out and research it. But and when you're talking about where you had 80% of black families that were married, and what happened between what government aspects came into play that led to men not being in the house, which led to young boys having their mothers as their role models versus them. Like it didn't just happen. It was policies and procedures that took place that led to.
And you're missing one though, because I feel like we get the welfare, we get the, I know a lot of people say the black codes, the crack epidemic and all of that. But one of the things that happened, what happened in the 70s? Do you know? There was something really big that happened in the 70s that changed the dynamic of the house structure, no matter if you was black, white, or otherwise. No, women were introduced to the workforce. We could do things that we could not do, which changed We had our own
The
money.
dynamics.
We had our own voice. We could now do things, and we didn't have to, because back in the day, women were getting beat like crazy, and men did not get in trouble for that shit at all, because it was what you do in your house with your wife. And when women finally got the opportunity to say, hey, I don't have to put up with this shit. I don't have to sit here and be under my daddy or be under my husband. I can have my own. They went out to find happiness. Because when you look and you ask men, what does that like to have a woman in the home, when you're talking about the ideal situation, they will literally describe you as slave. Somebody that don't talk a lot, somebody that cooks, somebody that cleans, somebody that have, they're literally describing a slave.
Okay, so hold that thought, because I see. Okay, this is gonna be good. So hold that thought. We're gonna go to a quick commercial break. All right. Let's do that. I love you guys. This is all right. Y'all hold on tight, man. We'll be back in just a second. Continue sharing while we're on a quick little break. All right, let's go.
Just James butter. It's really good on your hair.
My favorite has got to be the peppermint mist leave-in conditioner. It's so soothing to your scalp. I've had dry, itchy scalp, and I tell you, it's amazing.
My favorite product with Jay's Butter is the natural flaxseed elixir, especially on the hair that's not mine.
Y'all know what? I really love Jay's Butter. I love Jay's Butter.
What up, everybody? It's your boy Royce the Voice, Orange Click, Orange Leader. Shout out to K-Team. Speak your thoughts or lose your mind. And I'm here to tell you about my guy, Kevin Lambert, aka the cell phone guy, now has a new website. It's at www.tncellphoneguy.com. Yes, look at those pictures right there. He will turn your phone from hell to heaven. Do you hear me? From hell to heaven. So y'all make sure y'all go check out Kevin Lambert, aka the cell phone guy, at www.tncellphoneguy.com.
G Street Quick Draw Gun Magnet. Unlike the competitor who imitated and sell similar products with more expensive prices, G Street Gun Magnet Mount is specially designed and engineered to provide you the safest and most convenient experience.
Do you want to access your guns quickly in case of emergency? Do you feel safe in your car and at home? Do you want to be able to hold your guns for any different situation? After our research, we have redefined our gun magnet mount for the market to solve any complaints from gun fans. We have designed and redesigned our magnet mount, which is made from premium, eco-friendly material, excellent craft, unique appearance with quick draw and quick load functions, and hold flat surface firearms safely and secure.
Order your G Street Quick Draw Gun Magnet today with free delivery at gstreetedc.square.site.
Look, I suggest that you fall in line and show me my respect. I'm the best. None of y'all a threat. This is not a test. I'm upset. Come around here, I'll make you stand on all your threats.
Yo, what everybody? It's your boy Royce the Voice, Orange Click, Orange Leader. Shout out to K-Team. Speak your thoughts or lose your mind. And can everybody hear me? Yeah. All right. So welcome back, everybody. I hope everybody was continuing to share. And excuse me, got something caught in my throat right there. Hope everybody continued to share, man. We are heading into actually just finished our first hour of the show. A nice little first half, you know what I'm saying? And I actually kind of want to pick up where we were leaving off. I want to give a chance for Felice to finish to what she was saying. And let's just cut straight to it, man. So we're bringing our guests back in. It's Lise Winnie and B Virgil in the building. Man, y'all get a chance to get something to drink or use the bathroom or something like that, or was that too fast? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't get up. I didn't get up.
I got something to
Get
say.
up.
And, you know, I got a little cup. I got a little cup right here, just in case I gotta go. You know, nah, I'm just playing though. But, no, man. But anyway, man. Before we get back to where we just want to say shout out to Nino Black, BJ Anderson, man. I saw a new face up in there. It was Jared Daniel and well, of course, Hirsch was up in here, but it was what was that guy name? It was Born Rich Club Films, and Bishop Jimmy L. Tyson was in the building. So I hope you guys will continue to watch it and continue to share. And yeah, let's pick up. I hope I didn't cut you off, Lise, but are you able to pick up where you were at earlier before the break?
Oh yeah, I mean it's fine.
Okay.
So when you're talking about toxic masculinity, it's about dominating or being dominant over women. And so when you start to go back to men that want to go back to a time, anybody that always wants to go back in time scares the fuck out of me, because shit was broken back then. So when you start saying that, it's something like, okay, when white people say it, it makes you go, when men say it, it makes you go, you kind of look with the side eye, because there were some things that were in place that allowed some fuck shit to go on. So basically what I was saying, that when you talk about this traditional idealistic world for a lot of men they hate the term toxic masculinity, you're usually talking about a world where they're describing a woman almost in a subservient slave-like role. She doesn't talk very much, because you've all said it. I don't want to hear a woman we don't know how to deal with. We were never taught how to deal with that. So you want somebody that's quiet. Then you want somebody who is in the kitchen. They have all those feminine characteristics and traits that you've seen in the movies back in the 50s and 60s. Somebody cooking in the kitchen and doing and cleaning and just kind of staying in the house, being just, that's what you want. Somebody that's going to follow, but not give any really true input. Now, all men may not feel that way, but a lot of it, and this is the scary part of like really demonizing men that don't necessarily hold those traditional types of masculine traits. It doesn't mean that he's gay. It doesn't mean that he's, not a real man or whatever, but he may not want a woman that doesn't talk. He may not want a woman that is just going to say, oh, I'm going to follow you, but I'm going to watch you walk off this cliff, but I'm not going to say shit because you're the lead. I'm just going to fall right behind you. Yay, we're both dead now. Like, that's not, some men really want a woman that's going to say, no, baby, no, this is dumb. Let's not do this. I want a teammate. I don't want a slave. I'm sorry. And so that's what when I hear that, it makes me scared. When I hear people saying, well, let's go back to that. I'm like, let's not. Let's all that into something that works for everybody. Because women are working now, and it is true. In the 1970s, you had the women's movement where more women got into the workplace than ever before. Women were taking jobs and roles that they'd never sat in. Black women, of course, didn't get as much of that glory as well, like with everything else, but they were going into the workforce. And so now they didn't have to sit around. They didn't have to wait, because there's not enough men to women ratio. Men are born.
What does that mean?
There are 3 women born to every 1 male. So if you don't get selected in the United States anyway, if you don't get selected by a man, I'm supposed to sit here and wait, or I'm supposed to share my spouse. I'm not supposed to go out and be independent. I'm not supposed to build what I'm building. That somehow makes me masculine and then hurts your masculinity because I'm building. I don't know about that.
Would you date somebody? Let's say if you were making 100,000. I don't know your income. I'm just saying in general. Do you think women who generally make 100,000 would date somebody who worked at McDonald's?
I think it depends on the woman. I know people that do.
Do you think it's
depends on the woman?
Do you think it's more
men
women?
Men are more likely to date down financially. I agree with that.
Why is that?
Because of the traditional gender roles, where men are taught that they have to be the provider. So they're more likely to take a pretty woman or a woman that they feel that they can put in the house, or a trophy wife, and provide for this particular person because of those traditional gender roles. That is why.
Okay. So, and keeping with that, why aren't women generally more likely to date down someone who makes less than them? They say when I hear the conversation, I hear I want my equal or somebody who makes more. So why is that?
I said this 2 weeks ago. I don't think I got my question answered on that one, but I'm glad he brought that up.
I think we did. Cynthia, and I shouted to her. She ain't not here today, I don't think.
What's up, Jay? Is it Davila? Shout out to you.
Yeah.
222.
I think that the reason why a lot of women tend to look for a man that makes what they make or make more than them is, again, these traditional gender roles. So a lot of women, they straddle both worlds. So they want to be the damsel where I want to be taken care of, but then at the same time, it's like, but then, I don't really want to share my income. I don't want to take care of you because in traditional sense, you're supposed to take care of me. I don't agree with that at all.
It sounds confusing even when you say it. So how do you think men feel knowing that? Like, on one hand, when traditional works in your favor, you're for it. You're for
men do the same
gender
thing,
equality.
But they do the same thing because if men, they were more likely to date down, but they will treat you more like shit. So now they have all the control, but then at the same time, if you're not making a shit ton of money, like you're not LeBron James, you're not just bankrolling somebody's living expenses, and you go, well, I want to be the leader, but you're gonna have to work, and although we're both working, you're gonna listen to me like that. So men and women we both are hypocrites like a motherfucker. Like, we don't communicate at all.
I can give a scenario in which that my income matters to women because it speaks directly to my ability to be able to take on my traditional role, to be a provider and protector. So when men are looking for women, what qualifications do you think we look for?
Most of the time, to be totally honest with you, men look for a woman that, one, they're attracted to most of the time. And then two,
you said it was discussed. Like,
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be sexually attracted to your mate. I'm not saying that, but I feel like that's, in some men's minds, that's all that matters. Like, they're not really like, can she speak? Can she talk? Can she actually form a sentence? Like, they don't even care. Like, as long as you look good, I don't really care. But
I'm not in that number.
But some men, I feel like it's
I feel you.
Looks. It's looks, and then they also look for someone who they feel is a ride or die. And they look for these traits in women. Like, they'll test you. Like, let me see how far I can push you and see what she gonna let me do. Those are the traits that they look for in women. Somebody that's gonna be a ride or die and put up with a bunch of shit, and somebody that is attractive. And they can get both. They're in heaven, and somebody that has sex whenever they really want to. Those three things. So even though they shouldn't, you should look for more.
Oh, that's so shallow of us.
When I look at a home and I look at the dynamics that make up a relationship, I feel there are internal controls and there are external controls. Meaning there are things that have to be done inside the house, and there are also things that must be done outside the house. But the majority of women, they want to.
Can I be wrong, Nino, or can you disagree? It's a difference between being wrong, and that's your opinion.
Yeah.
He just want to hear Nino. Want to hear you talk.
If I'm okay with working outside the house, and you're not okay with working inside of the house, but you also don't want me working inside the house because you don't want to take care of me, but both aspects of the house have to be taken care of. So I'm just trying to understand, like, if you don't want to be inside, but you don't want me inside, then it makes sense why the house falls. Does
I
that make
think that
sense?
it kind of does, but that's not exactly. So when I say that women kind of want to play these dual roles, this is what happens.
Okay.
A lot of women are not going to allow the house to just fall, because we know what we're not going to do is pretend like there's not a ton of women that's taking care of dudes. That's
No,
what
I'm
we're
not saying
not
that.
supposed to do.
And if I'm gonna apply toxic masculinity, them dudes is toxic as hell. Because
I used to be one of them. I
I'm
admit it.
I'm not about that life
No more.
at all.
You don't seem like you ever were about that life, but there are some dudes that will allow a woman to take care of them, and there are women that will continue to take care of them. And the reason why I mention that is because a lot of women are not going to allow that house to fall. They're not going to allow you to lose the house and the car and the stuff. They're not going to allow that. So if it needs to be done, financially, most women, I mean, there's a couple assholes, because this is why I don't like putting stuff on genders. I've met some asshole women that I'm like, bitch, what the fuck is you doing? And I've met some asshole men like, bitch, what the fuck is you doing? Like, it's on both sides of the fence. I think we need to, if we got rid of that and started looking at people as individuals, we wouldn't even be talking about toxic masculinity.
But I always say cause and effect. Okay, and when I say cause and effect, the thing that occurred with you all getting introduced to the external control, being outside the house, and us having been provider protector, now I'm competing. You don't want to take care of your competition. You're my direct competition, and how I view it, regardless of whether it's right or wrong. I'm just stating the things as they are. When I'm going up for a job and you're going up for a job, you get it, but you don't want to take care of me. I'm going to kill you. Like I could get that job and take care of us, but you get it, and I want somebody better.
Well, so men upgrade too. Look at the whole NBA. The NBA got a whole bunch of upgrade wives. They had them starter girlfriends. The first kids don't look like the next kids. Like it just kind of how it is when people make money. They always want to upgrade their spouse. Like, nah, I can't be with you no more. I gotta upgrade. But Jay-Z said it best in that rap with I don't even remember the name of the song, but Beyonce is in it. And he said, what's better than one billionaire? Two. Why are we not working together? Like, I'm not your competition. I'm your teammate. If you get that shit out your head, we can make goals. We can make buckets. If I get the job,
that's why we're having this conversation.
If you didn't get the job, I'm going to find out a way to help you get the job. I literally wrote my husband's resume that he got a job making 6 figures. I'm not going to have me be successful and him not be successful. I helped him get there. That makes no sense to me. I don't know. I think there's more women. There's more women out there. I feel like
I wish that they would show themselves. You know what I mean? Because
they must hang out at Target. I gotta stop going to Walmart.
Look, I go to Target. Check this out. This is actually a question one of our listeners had. I hadn't heard Ernest in a long time, man. Shout out to Ernest Irvin. This might be the question for you though, Lise. He said, "How is it that modern women don't want to be 1950s women, however they want a 1950s man?" That's a good question.
I don't want a 1950s man, and I don't know if a lot of women want a 1950s man. A 1950s man is a man of few words. Probably not all of them, but a lot of them were closet abusers that just didn't know how to verbalize. I don't want a 1950s man. I don't want that.
Now, I guess he would have to, I don't think Ernest even means that in the negative aspect of the 1950s man. Like, I mean,
classic man.
Let's just be real. We know that there was abuse all across the board from the beginning of time all the way to now. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to sit there and say every woman just came around with a blue face, let alone a black woman. If we're speaking about in the black community, if you're saying all we had was each other,
facts, girl.
I just on my timeline, I don't know anybody in my family that's been beaten black and blue, in the 1940s, 50s when all we had was each other.
They hit it like it wasn't something you don't go out and tell people that's happening to you, because it was the norm. That is what was supposed to happen back then. But what I'm saying is, I don't think I would want a 1950s man. No, I don't. Okay. I would not want that.
What about the
Now,
positives? Because I feel like you're thinking on a negative scale though. Like you don't
you
want a
mean a
1950s man.
gentleman? You're talking about a gentleman. So
Well,
you
I guess he would assume that you would. Yeah, we would know what he's talking about. Like you wouldn't want a 1950s gentleman compared, and because I see what he's saying in a way. However,
Mhm.
I see exactly what he's saying. Modern women don't want a 1950 modern. How is it that modern women don't want to be a 1950s woman? And he doesn't mean like as your slave, because I keep hearing you say slave and
mean doesn't want to
submitting
stay in the
and
house
bowing down
having
and
babies and being in the house, but yet you want a man that's going to take care of you. That's literally what that means. Like you don't want to be in the house. You don't want to allow your man to because what I hear a lot when we start talking about masculine, you got to let the man lead. Because if you don't let him lead, then you're taking away his masculinity. That's
so
what I hear a
so is
lot.
it so I get is it wrong for allowing your gentleman to lead?
We've had this. How many times we had this conversation, Roy? How many
But
times we had
but
this?
the way
No,
you're
no.
portraying, because I want. Go ahead.
Can I
I'm gonna
can I
let y'all
take on that?
talk.
I want to ask, like, I think the conversation is being framed wrong. I think that a lot of the reason that a lot of women are into that traditional business at all is because it was devalued in the first place. It wasn't appreciated. It wasn't celebrated as an equal contributor to the overall success of the home. And I think that if men were to revisit it, I think a lot of women, I've come across a lot of women who like to go back to those traditional roles. However, they still want to feel valued in the relationship, like it's their equal and not I'm your slave. So I think the conversation to be had between men is why don't we value that? Because food and nutrition, do you understand how we suffer? Black men, we die early because we don't get that 3 meals a day that we used to get. We out here running around with hypertension and diabetes and all kinds of things because we didn't value the contributions that Black women gave in a household. You told her it wasn't good enough, and then she goes out. I can see it. I just lit my own light bulb right there. But wow, okay.
You had a light bulb moment.
We just had. It's definitely been framed wrong. It's been.
Well, I mean, but the devaluation of a person's worth was started by those traditional gender roles that the man is the lead. So what he does is important. The stuff in the house is less important. So therefore, the person that are doing those tasks are less important. That is what has happened over like being a stay-at-home mom is a hard job. It's not an easy job. It's not an easy thing to do. So
I agree.
But I think that people also in a relationship should have a choice. If you are a woman that wants to go out and work and you want to contribute to your family, I don't think that should be a knock. I don't think it should be something that is looked upon now we're competing with each other. No, I want to help us get better. How do you build wealth? Not with one income on a 401k. No. We both need to be out here making money so we can invest. You talked about cryptocurrency. Let's get us some coin up in this bitch. Like let's do that.
Yeah, and that can be done from a computer. And I'm not suggesting that. I mean, they need to.
We're not going to invest.
That's not what I'm suggesting. But I'm thinking of the mind frame that we got to have that conversation about the residual effects of our experience. Why are Black men able to depart their households with such ease? And I mean, I'm not no social psychologist or anything like that, but I'd have to, if I had to pinpoint anything, and it's just me examining it over time, is like when you're being sold from one place to another, you have to develop an out of sight, out of mind complex to some degree. Otherwise, you'll go crazy thinking about what you left at the last plantation. And I think that in a lot of ways, our lack of conversation, our lack of understanding, those traits which are beneficial to your survival get passed down through your genetics. And because we've never addressed that issue, same way I remember my mother used to, like, if I would say things that she thought would offend somebody else, she'd pop me in the mouth. And a lot of times she think it's for my own good. And I look at that, how I would have viewed, I think if Emmett Till's mother had been there with him when he did what he did, she probably would have slapped him for his survival. But it still remains today when black men are trying to fight. I think of that little black boy that ran out there in the middle of the riots. And his mama went out there and slapped them all over the place. And they celebrated that.
Yeah, in Baltimore.
Boy, I would have lost it.
Oh, down Mondawmin, by the way.
No, exactly but we don't understand why we do what we do because we've never had a conversation. And you say go back. I think you can go back in examining without having to go back and actually reliving those things all over again.
Oh yeah.
The thing about going, yeah, you go back and you pull the things that worked that were beneficial to both parties. Food and nutrition is very important. I can't cook that well. Now you want some eggs? I got you. I will scramble you up some lean.
But if we're gonna do that, we're gonna have to go even further down the rabbit hole because it's not even just the cooking. Now we're gonna have to go back to the fact that black people didn't have the same levels and access to food in slavery because even the way we cook when women are in the home still kills men. It still kills the women because we cook with seasoning and salt and all of this stuff that is not good for us. Like white people age on the outside. They be 27, look 103. Black people age in the inside. We look 27, but we be 103 in the inside.
On the inside, absolutely.
And it's because we were never taught. So I agree that we do need to look back at, of course, history. You don't forget history. And I'm not one of them people that believes you should erase history because I'm not repeating the same shit that we just did. So let's learn from it. But I also think that we should be talking more about kind of what works as a team. Because I feel like we get so caught up on like it worked for my grandfather. You know, look what they had. You don't know what they had until you talk to them. And sometimes when you talk to older people, you start to realize how unhappy in some of these marriages that they really were because they didn't marry for love.
I feel you.
They married for survival.
My man Antonio said men can rarely fix anything, build anything in the house, so black women don't really value men. I hope he's talking about today's men because I know. And see that is a residual effect of the progression or lack thereof. We've been progressing backwards. Essentially, men have gone down I know men that can't change tires. Like who raised you, bro? Like you can't change a tire, bro.
But there's a cultural shift. We have technology that we didn't have now. People are not like we blame a lot of this stuff on there's no men in the house. There's not enough men in the house, but there's a bunch of other external factors at play. Like a lot of the kids now, they sit on a computer to pretty much nowadays it's 24/7. And that's what they do.
But I have to stop that though. And whose household? So because that's what I was getting ready to say. Because let me tell you this: we 80s babies now. Now you know we had Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, Atari, and all this stuff. But you know what I'm saying? I think it still applies to today. I mean, just like my mama and my daddy made me go outside and get dirty, rough up my knees, play King in the Mountain, hide and go seek, whatever, Super Soakers. I mean, it still should not change regardless. No. The culture changed even before we were born. But you know what I'm saying? But our parents still kept wait a minute, baby girl. The culture may have changed, but our morals and values still stay the same. Oh, you're gonna get your ass outside and you're gonna go out there and play. What's so different now just because there's a PS5? You trying to say that your children can't go outside and still be creative outside and build a tree house or go out there and play kickball or football or baseball? Like I understand technology's here, but then we make that a choice to make us lazy. It affects all of us. As adults, as children, you still can keep the same values and morals as your mom and daddy taught you, regardless of the new technology. Learn how to balance that. Like, okay, technology may be good for certain things, but technology is making us freaking lazy now these days. And our kids are not understanding the value of how to build a fire, how to change a tire, just in case. Because believe me, I'm a conspiracy theorist now. One day we're going to have to be going off the grid. And some people are going to be left out. And I'll leave it at that. And we're going to have to know how to do some basic essentials besides counting on Alexa.
Besides calling me a little girl, what you just did.
No, I said baby girl.
Oh, it sounded like you said little girl.
No, baby girl. I wouldn't do you like that. Come on now.
I think that we don't take that into consideration enough, because it's like, yes, you can say, oh, it's in the women's, it's only because it's women in the household, that's why no, I know two-parent households and their kids are sitting there in the house. Sometimes it's because the kids can't go outside. Go in West Baltimore City and I can guarantee you will not see a lot of parents sending their fucking kids outside. They can't. They're not going out there. There's certain places where they cannot. And then there's a cultural shift where there's no value anymore placed on climbing trees because all the money is in tech. Why would I tell my children to go outside and play on trees when I'm just as lazy as they are? I'm in here on the damn Netflix. They in here on the tablet. We got 15 devices going. It's the culture. It is
That's literally the effect. What's the cause? No, the culture is shaped by
it's not women.
Our behavior.
This is not a woman thing.
This is not me. I'm not gonna bash women because I think there's equal. Man, this is such a
parenting.
You this is like a series thing. This ain't you can't get that squeezed 400 years in 2 hours. And I think that it's so much stuff to unpackage. And I think most men and women want the same things. We don't know how to go about it. And rather than continuously engage ourselves in this pointless blame game, we can actually draw a diagram. Like we can pinpoint where certain things, what they call it, reverse engineering. Okay, we got kids that are unruly. Okay, what is that a result of? Oh, no discipline. Well, what caused no discipline? Why is there no discipline? You can walk this thing all the way back, but we can spend several days, several hours right here dealing with I'm right, you're wrong, you're right, I'm wrong, and we won't get anywhere.
I agree with that. I don't disagree.
And as it pertains to the toxicity of masculinity, which we started off with, it can lead to a lot of different places. I think that term in and of itself is part of like the blame game. Like it doesn't make a man want to engage the situation. You call me toxic, fuck you. Not dealing with you in that craziness. And the fact that we weren't even involved in the coining of the term. You weren't involved. So who was involved? The same people who've been involved in every other new thing that we've come up with. Oh, the black woman is accountable. Thank you. What's her Miss? What you call her? Triple twos?
I was trying to make sure I said her name right. Yeah,
Miss J. Davila. I hope I said it correctly as well. But accountability comes down to accountability to self and for one another.
But that's what I was talking about. Individuality. If you start looking at people as individuals,
individuality.
It is
team over here.
No, but what I'm saying is if you look at people as an individual, the only way you can have self accountability is to acknowledge what you need to do as thyself. As an individual, you can only hold yourself accountable for your individual actions. You cannot hold yourself accountable for the actions of the group. You can only, in order to have true accountability. So that's what I mean by starting to really hold people accountable for the messed up stuff that they do based on being an individual, instead of kind of like lumping everybody together, like all men want this, all women want that. No, that's not true. All
men want sex. I can promise you that is absolutely true. Promise you that.
Wow.
But
that is facts.
Well, most women do as well, because we wouldn't have no babies if
then y'all be playing games about it though.
I think it depends on the mood in the day. But I think we need to get there.
Sunshine today.
If we can get there where we are looking at people as individuals, I think we can have more conversations. But what we haven't addressed is the negative effect that toxicity on these very stereotypical male behaviors has on men. We've not mentioned that at all. Telling a little boy that men don't cry, men don't feel pain. The reason why we talked about men dying, because you said because women are not cooking, you know, they don't have those home meals, they're eating out. But what we also don't mention is the fact that men are less likely, and these are statistics, these are facts. They are less likely to go to a hospital because they are told that you are a man, you are a boy, you are strong, you don't feel pain, you don't do that. So they wait too late. When by the time they are more likely to commit suicide because they're depressed, and they wait too long because it's like I can't show this emotion because it's feminine. This is girly stuff. It
So
has
let
a
me ask you,
negative impact on men.
cool. So
So
let me ask you
out
this
of
question.
balance.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question. What is too much for a man to be when it comes to emotions? Do you feel like men should balance their emotions, or do you feel like that both men and like, okay, for example, you know, baby girl coming home from a hard day at work, you know what I'm saying? She's like, baby, she's coming there talking. She's like, man, I can't, man, you know, this boss, man, she got on my nerves, and man, she quit to just talk all this shit, man, and then she had the nerve to say all this and all this, man, I'm just so tired. And then your man is like, man, I hate that bitch too, man, fuck that bitch, man, let's go with it right now, and let's do something about it right now. I'm just as up. Do you want that, or do you want a balance in saying like, okay, your man is listening, you know, listen, which I've always told that I do talk a lot, you know what I'm saying, right? uh I've been known to talk a lot, and so I've learned to listen. When people I've dated in the past have talked to me about certain things, I always have to have some type of input, or I felt like that I had to get just as emotional as them for them to like, okay, he really cares, he understands, and but then we really don't, you know, she's still being that way because I'm being that way. I'm not giving her that opposite, you know what I'm saying, like that strong man, like, yo, you know, it's gonna be okay, you know what I'm saying. I may say fuck that bitch too, you know what I'm saying, but you know, look what you got right here in front of you. You feel what I'm saying? This is what you come home for. This is your comfort. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be your strength instead of matching your emotions. Like, do you feel like there should be a balance of emotions between men and women?
I'm just lost at what you mean by matching your if this is psychology 101, therapy 101, counseling 101, communication 101. If somebody is hysterical, you don't get hysterical too. That has nothing to do. If I'm a woman and the other woman is crying and I come in the room and start like, no, if they're going through a crisis, the goal would be you don't go through a crisis with them. When I mean that men don't talk about their emotions, it's not necessarily if I'm saying that I'm having a bad day and you're having a bad day. Most men don't say anything at all. They don't even tell me they had a bad day. Like I'm thinking my world is the worst. Everything is crumbling around me. And it could be just something simple. Like I got a flat tire and I was late to work. Whereas he was like, you don't even know. I had to pay the mortgage. My boss was on my ass. Like my brother is in trouble. Like they don't say anything. They're stoic. They hold it all in. What I would like if I'm saying, you know, I'm having a really bad day. You say, damn, like, baby, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry you had a bad day. He was like, you know, but I had a bad day too. And then she'll go, well, what's going on with you? So we can start talking this out instead of you internalize it. Because then after a while, if you internalize it enough, it starts to go outward and you start to have that aggression where now I'm kind of resentful towards you because you don't care about me. Then the woman seems selfish. So it has to be communicate. You need communication. You need to have communication. And so that's why when you say balance, yes, there should always be a balance in everything. With women, with men, there should always be a true balance. So yes, I agree with you on that sense, but I think that men should be open to communicate. And if a man cries, I don't think that should be seen as feminine.
Oh, no. But if I may, I don't think that this should be an excessive amount. I'll just say it like this. I feel that to women that shows a sign of weakness for excessive, like out of the just something that hits your discernment, like your spirit, like, okay, all right, this nigga crying just a little too much about everything. Like it's, and let me ask you a question, Lee. Let me ask you a question. And to any other woman out there that is listening, shout out to Donna Smith. Please feel free to click the link as we, get into our last 30 minutes of the show. Because this sounds like this is something that we need to continue to talk about, though. But if your man came to you crying every day about something, let's just say the same thing, what would be your first response? How would you respond to that? How would you take that? What would you think?
If he's crying all the time, I was like, yeah, we definitely gonna have the conversation. Like, baby, what's going on with you? Like, is it an emotional thing? We need to go to the doctor because clearly you can't regulate your emotions. But I think that we get to these far extremes of people, because most people aren't just crying every 15. I mean, I know a few, but most people are not just crying every 15 minutes about everything. We gotta stop that. Like, if we're really just being real, I don't mind a man crying. Like I said, I've never seen my husband cry ever. I've never, and people have died. I've never seen him cry ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that men should do that, because it's very, very hard for them to take all that weight. I know that it's hard being a woman, but it's also very, very hard being a man, and especially being a black man. It's a hard thing.
Now.
You got Nino crying now.
I hope
Hey,
I love to see a man who can express emotions. I think that is more masculine to not give a fuck than to be hurting and you can't show that you are happy. Or if your baby is born, you're not gonna shed a tear.
Well, no, I mean, I don't mean it like that. Yeah, I mean, well, see, you know, Virgil's different. You know what I mean? I can't say I would make myself do that, but there are certain emotions.
I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not saying it wasn't an emotional event, but in fact, I have the video recording. I recorded it.
Oh, you gonna show? Oh, okay.
No. See, I stepped outside and I had a conversation with myself before I even went in there.
Okay.
I recorded it and I was like, yo, this is what I'm feeling right now. I had a conversation with me because I know when I go in there, if she's in panic, I can't be. It's like what you said earlier. And the other thing that I had, which is always good for me, is that I had men that I could, if I was feeling anything, I could call. Like the camaraderie that's another thing that's missing in amongst black men in general. We don't have that camaraderie. It's like, if I look at the rap game, a lot of those guys came up together, and then if I share something with you that was personal that I was going, I can't trust that if we ever cross paths, you're not going to use. And so today is a lot of women like that. I'm not sharing shit with these Billy Goats because they regurgitate it. And here's the whole thing about it. You want to, if two or three people do that to you, you never do. That never occurs again. Once a man has been vulnerable and been violated as a result of his vulnerability, it'll never happen again. And it could have not even been a woman he was dating. It could have been his mother gossiping with his aunties.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And hold that thought. On that note, we're gonna go to our last commercial break, y'all, and we're gonna top this off, man, for the last 30 minutes or so. Y'all sit tight. You guys continue to share. Shout out to Nino, Blake, Antonio, Freddie B. Israel is in the place. I see you, bro. Donna Smith. Y'all just sit tight, man, and please continue to share during this commercial break. Let's get it.
What's up, ladies? It's your girl, Cynthia Bailey from The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I got some good news. Durbin Salon is back open. I know if you guys are like me, you see I have these braids over here. It's been a struggle during the pandemic. So Durbin Salon is back open. They sell hair, they do hair, they deliver whatever you need. They got you, boo-boo. Okay? Make sure you guys go show some love and go get your hair done.
Hey everybody, Eddie George here. I just want to encourage you to shop at local small businesses like Dollar City in Nashville, Tennessee, your neighborhood convenient dollar store providing various brands and different products. They need your support. We've got to go support them during times like these. Check them out. They do an exceptional job. Support our small businesses. Thank you.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Check it out. It's free.
What?
And we like free.
No way.
And they also have tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
Okay.
Anchor will do all the work for you.
No.
So it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other media outlets.
What?
You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
I see Virgil flew up in that mud. Hey, what up, everybody? It's your boy Royce the Voice on Click on Leader. Shout out to KT and Speak Your Thoughts, Illusion of Mind. As we come into our last sort of 30 minutes of the show, man, I just want to give a shout out to everybody that's been sharing, that's been participating in the show. Shout out to Nino Black. You dig what I'm saying? Can't wait for his show tomorrow. You dig? I think his show tomorrow will be, I believe it is about how to, is it surviving police? Say that right to me. Surviving, what to do in a situation when you're being arrested or detained by the police or being stopped by the police. But give me that. You know what? No, you ain't gotta give me that official title because I already got it. Let me just make sure I say that right, brother, because I definitely don't want to mess that up. So yeah, tomorrow's show would be how to survive a police encounter. All right, that's Nino Black and Black Thoughts coming on tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time. Shout out to Antonio Sales. Shout out to Freddie B. Israel. Hadn't seen you in a while, brother, man. Nice to see you up in there, man. Of course, you guys can click the link anytime if you want to join into the conversation. You dig? How to survive a police encounter. Already, Donna Smith. Shout out to you. JD J Davila 222. That's what I'm gonna call you. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my big bro Terrell Mass and Gill. As usual, you feel what I'm saying? So we are back at it like a crack addict, you feel me? And I hope you guys are continuing to share. I see everybody just hop back on. And we're going to go on and bring our guests back in, Lee Sweeney and B. Virgil. What's good, everybody?
We're good. We're good. Still hanging in there.
I hear that, man. I saw Virgil in the green room, boy. He got a good time. He slid in there like an old dude did on 5 Heartbeats. Ain't got no money. Ain't got no fancy car. Yeah, I feel you, man. You already know what's up, man. All the link, the link to get on the show. You know what? I'm gonna put it up there for you. You know what I'm saying. The link is on fire. All right. Let me do that. Yeah, there you go. Right there, Nino. I don't know. You're probably looking from the page, probably so, but that link. But anyway, guys. So yeah. So let's get back into this. Because what was that song? Was it by not High Five? Was it High Five or Shy? Emotions make you cry sometimes. Which one is that? It was H-Town. All right. So let's get back to the emotion part real quick. You feel me? Yeah, at least like, okay, there are situations where, you know what I mean? Well, I ain't even gonna sit there and lie. I think I get a lot of my emotions from my mother. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things to where I keep it real. Like every time I'm in school, when I was in school in college or whatever, and my father would say a certain thing to me. You know what I'm saying? My father would say just something as simple as like, son, I'm proud of you. And it's kind of like the way he says it, you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like a little tearjerker, like, it's like, you proud of me, you mother. Like, don't do it. I can't believe you said, oh my, that kind of stuff. I feel, like, yo, I think that's what we need more of. Is since we're talking about emotions and communicating, especially amongst Black men, pause no homo, which we need to get away with that anyway. These young kids got me saying that, but like, brotherly love, you know what I'm saying? True brotherhood, communicating amongst each other, expressing on how you feel. Like, hey, my brother, I feel like, you know, what you did right here was kind of effed up. You feel me? I think you need to straighten up and fly right on this. Hey, I'm gonna tell you how it made me feel. I mean, shoot, Josh tells me this all the time. A lot of times when we speak, he's like, hey, yo, I mean, man, you maybe you should have did it this way, bro. I don't like the way you did that, homie. Like, I'm gonna tell you how it made me feel. You know, it may hurt your feelings, but at the end of the day, I got to learn something about my brother, because, like, I definitely don't want to hurt my brother's feelings. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, so I do agree with you, at least when it, you know, especially when it comes to expressing your emotions. But I just wanted to know, like, how much is too much? How much is too much, and should there be a balance, basically?
Yes, there should be a balance in everything. Too much is if it's starting to impede your life. If it's impairing your life, you need to go seek a therapist or a doctor. That's when it's too much. When you're crying because you woke up this morning, you need to go seek help.
While they do it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we just got a guest that just came in there. He's no stranger, you know what I'm saying, to the show, because, well, he's got his own too. You feel me? And man, if he's ready, man, give me the head nod, man. I see him all edged up. Look at him. All right, he ready. All right, my man. We got my boy Nino Black in here. What's the DZ?
What's up? How y'all doing?
Already.
I just want to say, hey, this is an awesome conversation. I love it. Like, when I hear that word, toxic masculinity, I always wonder what the hell it is, like where it come from. So I started doing research on it, but y'all bring us some good topics. So yeah, it's a great conversation.
That's what's up, man. So, man, so speak your thoughts or lose your mind, man. How you feeling? What's going down, bro?
Man, listen, I just want to touch on a couple things really quick, and then I'm gonna dip, because I don't want to hijack the show. Everything that y'all saying is right, but like, one of the things that y'all mentioned was accountability. That's the first step, is accountability. Well, you can't require an addict to have accountability if he don't even know he an addict. See what I'm saying? If they gave you an opioid to help you fix your arm, mentally you still think your arm hurt 6 years later. That's why you still on pills. That's the excuse you're gonna give us to why you still on pills, not knowing that you're an addict. Well, when you go back to 1937, when the no man in house rule was created, to where we can give you funding for your household with welfare, but your husband cannot be at the house. Okay, well, as a man who is suffering from black code, which is another law that was created previously, doesn't allow me to work, doesn't allow me to own land, doesn't allow me to quit a job, doesn't allow me to hang out, doesn't allow me to do anything but work and make their money. I'm gonna say, babe, I love you. They're gonna help you take care of the kids. I gotta go. Well, when you bring that through generations, our grandfathers wasn't fathers. So our fathers wasn't fathers. So it's easy to say, take accountability. Take accountability for what? That's why you got 7 generations on Section A, because they don't even know it's an issue. In their mind, they're like, I ain't got no other way. They don't know. So before we can say, take accountability, because me, I'm a 9th grade dropout. I dropped out of school in the 9th grade. Well, guess what? I own businesses. I'm happy. I live a pretty decent life, right? Well, when I hear people who been to college, got a degree, have both parents in their house, when they talk about kids who don't have that, they talk like, well, why don't he just get up and get a job? Because they don't understand systematically. They don't know how. So before we can say accountability is the first step is acknowledging it's a problem. What's the problem? So when you talk about, and it's something that you said, and you're right, but I don't like how you said it. And Lisa is who, the way you said it like men were beating the shit, black man was beating the shit out of that woman, and the white man, wanted to save the day, so he let them go to work so they can fend for themselves. Oh, hell no. Hell no. They ain't never did nothing for y'all to keep y'all or help away from us. No. Everything that has ever been done has been against black men. Point blank, period. It ain't have shit to do with you. You was just there. You just happened to be an innocent bystander. Had shit to do with you. What they wanted was, they wanted the workloaders, the goats, the herders, to continue to stay in the field, and they wanted the women to acknowledge the fact, I don't need them. I don't need them niggas. Because if we come together, you're gonna teach us some shit that we can't be taught in the field. Together, we ain't gonna need none of them crackers. So they gotta divide us. So that's all. That's all I want to say. But research Black Code, research Man in House Law, research all of these. Because if you know anyone that's on Section 8 now, a man still can't be in the damn house. See what I'm saying?
I was one of those back in the day. Yeah.
In 2021, that's still a damn rule.
I hate to do this. I swear I am not this person.
Come on.
But if it was the only way somebody can come in and say, especially like, let's take now. So if you're saying that it's still to this day with Section 8, because you're right, it's all about mental state, mindset. And that's why a lot of the places where we see in the inner cities and stuff, they haven't changed much, because in order to change anything, you've got to change the mindset. But that starts from within.
Right.
No one else can do that but you. But at the same time, if we've known this for generations upon generations that something is wrong, right? We know that it's wrong. We know that this is not what we need to be doing. We know that this cannot be the end of it. We know that we have to be doing more. There's no way that if we were making X amount of dollars and things were all gravy, that somebody would be able to come in and say, hey, I'll give you a check you cut out, if men and women were working together and saying, no, we don't need your money. We don't need your money.
Yeah, they did. It's called Black Code. Go look it up. I'm telling you. Black Code.
I know you're saying it's Black Code, but what I'm saying is, once you know that the system is rigged against you, wouldn't it behoove you to not
you know how they fix that? You know how they fix us from seeing that? It's a new word that came out in the early 1999 called classism. And you know, when you uppity niggas go to college, you start tipping around in classism. So now classism keeps you from hanging with Ninos, because you know he say the wrong word, he used the wrong two. He said T-O. He's supposed to use T-O-O. I can't talk to that nigga. He's stupid. See,
but you don't know where I came from.
I know.
I came from where you came from, buddy. Like, we came from the same place.
Hey, the fact that I can tell by the knowledge that you speak. I can tell from the knowledge. So are you trying to tell me you don't have an educational background?
Oh, no, I do.
Okay, thank you. And I'm done. That's exactly what I mean. But that's why. Because, wait. Once you get whitewash education, it pulls you away.
Indoctrination, not education. Big difference.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. That's the right word. Indoctrination. Once you get indoctrinated, you don't want to be around your people no more. Why would you want to do that? We gonna hold you down.
See, but that's where the individualism needs to come in, because I started a nonprofit to go back in my community with workforce development in Baltimore City, and I don't live in Baltimore City anymore because I wanted to make sure that the people in my community had opportunities to partner with these bigger corporations and to go to school if they don't want to go to school, to construction. And I helped my husband, but I've also gotten other people's six-figure jobs without a degree. Right. This is what I'm doing. So this is what I mean. You can't you gotta treat me as an individual. Right. Don't throw me in a group.
Yeah, I know like 20 people that do that, but I know like 20 million people that don't give a fuck about us once they graduate. You just said it a moment ago, when black men get rich, they get white women. Why?
Which is not entirely true.
It's true, yeah.
80%,
right.
80% still marry black women, but I can dig it. Let me go ahead and clear that up.
About the NBA, I made a joke about the NBA. Yeah.
No, I'm just messing with you. But look, that's all I want to say, man. I got something coming out called The 5 Steps to Dismantling the Black Family, and it's actually talking about the same topics and everything that I just talked about. So y'all check that out. It's the 5 steps to destroying the black family, man. What they did, the laws they put in place to kill our black family. But love y'all. Thank y'all so much, Lisa. Thank you for not cussing me out. God bless you.
All right, brother Nino. That's what's up, man. I appreciate brother Nino always coming through, man. Y'all make sure y'all tune into the show, tomorrow at 8 p.m. You dig what I'm saying? That should be a great show to listen to. And so yeah, this man, I feel like that there should be an extension, what I'm saying, of this particular conversation, man, because like I was telling, Virgil, yesterday, I might have talked to Lisa about that before, but speaking more particularly on just on the Black community, man, like we're behind on a lot of things, in 300-400 years behind, economically, psychologically. It is. I mean, when it comes to genetics, that's a scientific fact, with even how we treat each other, how we choose not to communicate about certain taboos and stuff like that, social issues that really drive us crazy. And
Herschel.
wait, don't make this about success and mayonnaise packets. Really?
Come on,
Really,
come
bro?
on, Herschel.
Herschel, well, click that link, Herschel. You got something to say, brother. Let it be known. But I really think as Lise was saying, and both of you were saying, like, it's good that we kind of got this out, and we can say, okay, you're right, oh, you're wrong, and all this. But then, okay, what would be the solution? And that's something that I would ask you guys. Even if something you just freestyle right now. And I'll start from top to bottom. What do y'all think would be the solution from everything that we were talking about? Who's doing what and who's not doing what? What would be the solution to get everything back on track the way it's supposed to be? Professor Mayo.
These folks crazy.
He claimed the name though. He claimed it.
Lisa, you want to go?
Well, as long as he owned the name. But I think that the part of the solution is what Virgil was mentioning, is communication. We have to have these conversations. We have to want to have those uncomfortable conversations in order for us to really start to be able to move forward. Just like, when Nino came in, we don't always see eye to eye, but that's what we need. We need a collective group of people that have different opinions, and we shouldn't say like what one person is doing is not right versus the next without actually hearing them all the way through. I think that's where it starts, and really being able to clarify what you want as an individual. I know I done said that 15 times, but what you want as an individual. So a lot of the toxicity and the toxic masculinity has started, of course, in another movement, but we internalized it into relationships because we don't talk about it. I mean, I guess we talk about it in the workforce somewhat, but it's mostly when you're talking about men.
Diversity.
In women in relationships. So making sure you know what you want when you're going in, you're communicating that with your partner, and you're being open, and then just giving people the opportunity. That's where I think the solution starts.
I dig that. Mr. Virgil.
2 ears, 1 mouth. You gotta listen more than you speak. And like I say, everything that we're looking at is a effect of something that happened occurred before. And if you were to just backtrack and say, okay, at this point we went left, we should have went right. So we'll put a pin right here. And you keep backtracking, and you're like, okay, and you see how they all come together. This is no system is built that can't be unbuilt. We were socially engineered into this position in a lot of ways. A lot of what we do, we don't even know why we do. You don't understand the power program. And I watched some on Netflix the other day about Facebook and Instagram, as far as them tracking your habits and then socially engineering you into. Yeah, that's what it was. And we have to understand that you're in war. This ain't checkers. This is chess. And if you're not willing to say, okay, we played this game and we've lost. Well, those folks in 1920 didn't build Black Wall Street. It's not like we ain't have the formula before. So we have to backtrack. Like, what did they do that didn't allow another Black Wall Street to rise? Even to today, I don't see anything that it occurred again. I don't see any similar circumstances. So you have to really understand, the people who are looking to destroy you, and understand that it's not us. Like, I don't blame, if I'm in a barrel with a bunch of crabs, I don't blame the crab for trying to get out the barrel and maybe want to step on my head occasionally. Who the fuck put us here? And if you identify the true reason, stop pointing at each other. Okay, we're in this motherfucker. How are we gonna get up out of here? And everybody who's reaching, you don't have to reach and let them pull who they want to pull. we can create our own system that allows each one of us to come out of this thing together, winning. But it all starts with this. Like I say, I didn't agree I didn't disagree with the harmful effects of toxic masculinity, because anything that's toxic isn't going to yield good results or desirable results, whether it's good or bad. It's not going to give you a desired outcome. But I think that how it was being applied, how it was being framed, was wrong. And I think we weren't asking the correct questions as a result of it. So as long as we are engaging one another respectfully, then we can come to some consensus about how we can correct this problem. We can address this issue and get ourselves back on track. But I always speaking, it was something we talked about earlier. Two things: the teamwork aspect. Every player on the team don't have the same role. That's the first thing. And there's always a coach. But that's a whole nother subject. The other thing is, when we're talking about emotions, how I've always looked at the situation as it pertains to me. My job, I look at it as a seesaw. I'm not finna get on the other end of the seesaw and go up and down with a woman. Because I always say the minute you argue with a woman, you become a woman to her. She'll never respect you as a result of it. So my job is to be the bar that allows the seesaw riders to enjoy themselves. I create the stability. And as long as everybody is partaking and doing their part, then the seesaw it's gonna rock. It's gonna rock. Who said that?
Look at Herschel.
Hey, Herschel. Dr. Mayonnaise, Professor Mayonnaise. One from the hood, one misunderstood. Same education as blackness. One he hell. He is hell. Hey, Herschel, I miss our conversations, my brother. I'm gonna have to come on down to Murfreesboro and hang out with y'all. He's not in Murfreesboro still.
Yeah, he's out in the he's at the plantation Ponderosa, man. I'll let him tell you where he at. I don't want to tell his business, but he out there. He out there where he's
at the
nowhere,
ranch.
but he's at the ranch. There you go. the plantation Ponderosa bed and breakfast. Right there, man.
Oh my God!
Yeah, right there. That's where he is, right there. Yeah,
he's at the ranch. It sounds better.
He's at the ranch.
Right.
Yeah,
He's at the ranch.
That's what he call it though. But it should be called.
Hey man,
Ernest Irvin. Oh, you good?
Go ahead.
Yeah, you gotta go visit the plantation.
You need to go visit. You got to. It's actually dope. It's pretty dope. It's pretty dope, bro. It's a nice scenery, man. You can walk around there butt naked and nobody see you. That's outside too. Yep. But we're gonna pause on that. Ernest Irvin said to you, Queen, your points resonated as well as it came from a woman without the purpose of retaliation, but information. So you know what I'm saying. So shout out to Ernest Irvin for the love to Miss Lee Sweeney all the way out in Baltimore, Maryland. Really enjoyed my 5 days.
You loved it there.
Yeah, Nino loved it there. Nino loved it there, man. You know what I'm saying? It was good. Yeah, it was good, man. Great atmosphere, man. But
hey, that would be a great place to host a retreat in which we could have this conversation. Professor Mayonnaise, are you up for that?
It's automatic. He already waited. He already waited. No, that he that's it. That's
his new name.
He claimed it.
He's never been one, as far as I've known him. He's never been one to shy away from who he is.
Yeah.
And he and I have had some. We've had some back and forth, and I really miss it. You wouldn't even know he was from Memphis.
You really wouldn't until you get you know what? We're gonna pause on that too.
Well,
but look, you guys, I really appreciate you guys coming on. You know what I'm saying? And of course, B Virgil, man, I'll definitely be speaking to you, you know what I'm saying, soon. But specifically, Lisa, I definitely want you to stay on for like 10 minutes in the green room, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So we can just, just
I
chat it up.
usually just leave.
You just leave, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna hold you hostage real quick. And Herschel. But but man,
Wakanda forever.
Hey, B man,
you gotta do it this way. He the man that you gotta do it this way.
Man, but no, I really do appreciate y'all. Be Virgil, man. Thanks for being a guest on the show, man. I'm glad we got back in touch, and man, I'm glad. You know what I'm saying? You right there, one of my frat brothers, man. So I'll be connected with him too, man. So I appreciate you, man, and we'll definitely be in touch, man. And I'll be hollering at you soon. Lise, if you can just chill back for a minute, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead and close out the show, you guys. And once again, man, I love y'all and thank y'all very much.
Likewise, my brother.
Thank you.
I'm ready.
Good conversing with you as well.
Same here.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what's up, everybody? So I'm glad everybody was tuning in. It was a pretty good show, man. I'm glad that everybody's starting to kind of rotate towards the network page. We're trying to get everybody out there to support that page more, so you can see a little bit of everybody. We can see everybody's conversation, see everybody's comments. I appreciate the participation and your comments. Some new faces. Elliot Field, what's up, my man? My man, what's up, dog? Men are not the only people who contribute to toxic masculinity. I feel you, man. We're gonna try to extend this conversation some more, man, because just kind of reformatting some things, man, trying to see what the people really want to hear from everyone on the network as we contribute what we feel that we can conversate the most about and what feels more comfortable with us. But nonetheless, we really do appreciate all the listeners, all the shares, for everybody that's been with the Royce is Right Network since Juneteenth of 2019. Still going strong. We're heading into it's pretty much our third season, but this is our officially we'll be a podcast for like 2 years now. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody that's been working with us. Shout out to Nino Black. Shout out to Herschel Williams. Shout out to Bishop, Jimmy Tyson, and everybody that's been involved, that's been supporting this and affiliated with us, from Lise Winnie, all the way to Jay Thomas and Crystal, Tantric Yogi, P Hall, CC, all our sponsors from Jay's Butter, got the beard popping, you know what I'm saying? Done grew some more, you know what I mean? And to my man Kevin Lambert, to Eddie George and his people at Dollar City, Nino Black and his G Street accessories, man. Just thank everyone, man. And toxic masculinity, that's a word that like you said, but anything toxic put next to it sends that negative connotation. But amongst everything that we talked about, I hope and I pray that we do need our men back. We do need our men to be men, and like Lisa said, it's okay to express your emotions and your feelings and stuff like that. And there should be a balance, because it just should be a balance when it comes to a man and a woman and expressing our emotions. Because like you said, you play on the same team, but there's got to be a coach sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I just hope that we can get our real men back. I hope our fathers can be more in our children's lives, and I hope that men can, accept their responsibilities, deal with it, and raise your children better. If you're not saying that you are, but if you're not, please do, because this world honestly is not getting any better, and we need more good people like you. You feel what I'm saying? So without further, I'm your boy Royce the Voice, Orange Click, Orange Leader. Shout out to K-Team. Speak your thoughts or lose your mind. And we out.